Hey, Dragon Dreamers, Gina Virginia Casella here, and I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today, I'm super excited. I had a hard time sleeping yesterday, and then just when I finally got to sleep, I had to wake up, right? Let me know in the chat if you're like me, you have a cat like Rosie. She's likes her wake up time. So tomorrow is our big day, Summer Daze. In anticipation of tomorrow, I just finished emailing all of the dragons involved, dragon presenters and monitors alike, because there's some issues going on with Facebook right now. So let me know in the chat if you're having issues with Facebook too. I love Facebook. I love pretty much all technology, but when we depend on it, does it ever suck when, we're trying to get things done? So the presenters and we have a master chat that's on the go, but I also have all of their emails and they've got my personal number as well too. So communication is everything. And today, just before I came live with you right now, was a reminder about that, the reminder about communication and the commitment to be in communication with each other. So today, I want to talk to you about things you probably already know. Some of you, this might be your first time tuning in. So a big dragon welcome to any new dragon dreamers out there. Let me know in the chat if this is your first time hanging out with me. We've always got things to look forward to. Tuesdays, I go live doing story species, story medicine. I also go live on Wednesdays. I hang out, promote. Anybody out there hosts a show and you're looking to host somebody, please keep me in mind. And if you would like to share your story medicine, definitely reach out to me to be a guest on my show, because our conference tomorrow is actually in honor of story medicine. So I don't know if you know this or not, but we are a story species, and stories are our medicine. The logical mind that we have, our conscious mind, we demand a beginning, a middle, an end. We demand themes. We demand the symbols and archetypes. We demand the hero's journey. And I love talking about the hero's journey, but working with themes of duality is so in my face. Let me know if you can relate. The hero's journey is also synonymous with the triangle of disempowerment. So we need to break out of that disempowerment. We need to empower ourselves. But without the hero's journey, without recognizing just how disempowered we are, how can we make change, right? So it's like it really pushes our limits. And one of the reasons I'm even hosting a conference is in honor of me and the little girl, age 7, Gina. So when I was in grade 2, 2 angels came out of my wall, and it changed me forever. I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't hallucinating. I know what I saw, and I know what it's like to be made fun of. I also know what it's like to feel completely disempowered, not showing up in the world that I want to show up in. I know what it's like to be in survival mode, and I know what it's like to be fooled, to be in this illusion where I do what I'm supposed to do, right? Like your mind's number one job is to protect you, even if it means lying to yourself and creating false inhibiting beliefs. So I created a false inhibiting belief that I was happy. I was in long-term relationships. None of them worked out. Again, convincing myself that I'm happy, constantly lowering my own standards, not shooting for the stars like I thought I was. I was very heavily involved with academics. Any job that I had, I always took on extra roles volunteering, and I have no regrets. I stand by all of it. But for what it's worth, I really had no idea the stress level that was accumulating within. And when I had a severe panic attack, wow, now I was forced to take care of my health. And there's a negative story that's attached to that. But the good news is I'm in my new matrix now. So my old matrix, I was a public school teacher. I had a phenomenal career. You can learn all about me clicking around my website, ginavirginiacasella.com. I also have my Buy Me a Coffee. There's a YouTube and the beloved Facebook group. It's all free to join and follow. And the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective, that's the name of the Facebook group. And it's also free to follow me on Buy Me a Coffee, BMAC for short. And when you follow me on Buy Me a Coffee, you get in on this kind of stuff, right? So today I'm feeling really excited because I have checked off my list. Woohoo! Let me know in the comments if you can relate, if you've ever had a huge checklist to do. And, you know, when it comes to checking off a list, you got to do it with quality, right? You don't just want to check it off and you're doing a half-assed job on things. It will catch up with you, right? So today I'm really thrilled because tomorrow it's actually going to be unfolding. We had huge compliments about our phenomenal Promise of Spring, which was hosted last March. It was the first ever conference. And tomorrow is going to be our second one, Summer Daze. So we start 9 a.m. Eastern sharp. So if anybody's tuning in Pacific time, that's going to be 6 a.m. for you, Pacific time. And I'll be hanging out half an hour early, just chatting like I am now, talking about candle talk. I like to create candle hype. So without further ado, let me start talking about candle hype, and then I want to show you my BMAC because we can connect in the chat while I'm doing this here. So this is my candle. It's a votive. I forget the actual measurements, but it's called a votive candle because the size that it is. And tomorrow, when we do our conference, Summer Daze, I'll be opening and closing sacred space. I'll take you through that schedule when I show you on my Buy Me a Coffee. So at the same time, everybody's going to be asked to light their candles, and it's a really special moment. So if you don't have a candle, don't worry, because whatever I do, it's on behalf of the collective. And I always work with imagination too. Like, I know some people, you have a candle, but lighting a match right now is a huge no-no because fire hazards and whatnots, and it's just not like something you're safe with. Well, you know what? You could always turn on a light, right? Representative of the flame. You could also like just do something like this fire coming from your heart. Whatever you need to do to be creative. You can pour water in one glass into another glass representative of lighting the fire. And, you know, let me know in the comments how you're being creative. I didn't realize how many communities are struggling with fires right now. And 'tis the season, right, summer? So all of the conferences are in alignment with the summer solstice, the winter solstice, and then the spring and fall equinoxes. So when I do my candle carving, I keep it really simple. And I always use a permanent marker. So I used red in this case, very simple. I did a boat shape with a little bit of water, and there's a sun. And then I put SD for Summer Daze. So I'm going to carve into it in just a moment. And what I'm going to use to carve into it, I need to get better tools, by the way, but just working with simplicity. I'm just working with a push pin. Nothing fancy here at all. Some people get really creative. So if you want to join me and grab a candle and carve away, do that. Some people, they don't want to carve their candles. They like using different colored permanent markers, and then they just leave it like that. So let me know what you like to do. I have this here. It's just a bunch of leaves and twigs and bark from a tree that I found over the summer. And I do stuff like when I get new crystals or when I have a candle that I carve into, I bury it in here, representative of it going to sleep. So it's going to dream away. So after I finish carving my candle here with you, I'm going to put it in here to dream away. So what I also like to do is sometimes I just draw on my candle like I do and put it in here. But I do like to take the time to carve into it. And when I'm finished carving, I like to keep my ashes from my incense. And I just put it in here. You could use cigarette ashes. It'll have like a grayish, blackish look to it. Or you can use incense, which leaves like this brown look. And it'll look like this. This is another candle that I carved. Using the incense ashes creates like a spooky effect. So this is a picture of a house with a mountain and some waves. Rosie and I, we want our beach house by the mountain with snow, and there's waves. So we're by oceans and mountains. Where is this place? I don't know, but it is manifesting. Let me know. Rosie and I are looking for housing. So this candle's been dreaming away. And this one here, the one for me and Rosie for our housing, that's going to stay close to my other candles now. So there's other stuff that got mixed up in here, like some leaves and twigs. And I figure, oh, you know what? Maybe they're supposed to stay in there for whatever reasons. So just before I start carving my candle, let me show you my Buy Me a Coffee. I got it all ready here. And, you know, if you've been following me every day, I've been posting information about the conference. And part of me is tired now posting about the conference, but I know come Sunday, and let me know if you can relate, come Sunday, there's such a overwhelming feeling when everything is over and done. Sunday, we're going to have the post-conference hangout. But on the Monday, that's when it starts to set in. And what starts to set in is a feeling of sadness because it's over. And there's a sense of like loss and disconnect because everybody's so close right now and making it a point to, you know, be checking their emails, especially now with the Facebook Messenger not working for us. And so a lot of us go through these motions. If you've ever had a dance recital, a piano recital, something that you're a part of, whether you perform by yourself or with a community, after it's all over and done with, you feel good, but then there's that decline. And so it's really important after the conference that Dragon Dreamers know that we still hang out. We hang out on Tuesdays, like I said, for Story Species, Story Medicine, and we hang out Wednesdays to go live. So this is my Buy Me a Coffee. If you look at the post, you can see I post in there pretty much every day. Here's today's post with the candle hype. And I want to click on today's post. This is just reiterating tomorrow is Summer Daze. There's the link to get your ticket, which I'll show you in just a moment. There's a clearer picture of the candle. That's the one that I have with me right now. So the size that I have is a votive. Votive candles are pretty good for somewhere between, you know, the 6 to 10 hour mark. I find too, when I put my incense ashes on there, that the candle burns a bit longer. It also burns a little bit weird. So you got to kind of babysit the candle for the day, but it's going to be right beside me all day. These are our delightful dragon speakers. We've got Laura Ferguson, Sheila Spiral, Sister Murray, Julia Anchorhaven, Soma Ara, Slavka the Natural Sentient, and Missy Hill. So they are going to be providing us with a heavy dose tomorrow of their story medicine, talking about all kinds of things. Here we've got our Dragon monitors and technology assistants, Julia Anchorhaven, double timing. I told her, I said, you're already presenting. You don't have to be a monitor too. And she's like, no, I want to be a monitor. So I'm like, fine, whatever. So Michael Kopp stepping in to help out. You might recognize Michael from our first conference, Promise of Spring, and Jason H. Jason H., also known as Missing Time 420 in the chat. He was one of our Dragon Dreamers that randomly follows along. He randomly started helping out with monitoring. And so for this conference, I was like, Jason, do you want to make it official and be a official monitor? And he said yes. And I'm really thankful for that. Jason H. also helping me behind the scenes make movies. Now, the professional that Jason is, my timeline was way too fast for him, and he wasn't comfortable with what I was producing. He wants to really take the time to put in the quality. Me, I'm itching to get out some mini movie medicine. I'm an amateur, so I don't have the same pressure that Jason H does. Those of you who don't know Jason H, he is a professional film and cinematographer. So when he said he was willing to help me with my movies, I was really thankful for that. So I created my very first mini movie called Lushing all by myself. And the second one called Project 30, ISIS Unity Consciousness. Michael Kopp and I, the past few days, meeting every day, hashing it all out. So we are amateurs, and Michael and I, we're really enjoying riding the amateur wave. And we look forward to people like Jason stepping in to add better quality to that. So tomorrow in the conference, that's how we're going to be ending the conference. We're going to be, after all of the speakers, we're going to watch the movies and then close Sacred Space. So that's me, Gina, the Dragon Visionary behind it all. This is the schedule here. So on my screen, both schedules. It might be a bit squishy, squashy there for you. But you can get a better look at this, folks, on my Buy Me a Coffee. So 8:30, I'm going to be hanging out with everybody, chit-chatting away, reviewing the schedule. If anybody wants to connect in the live chat with me, that would be great. But then at 8:55, I'm signing off. And at 9 o'clock, we've got a prompt start. 9 a.m., we're just going to dive right into it. I've got some welcome videos and whatnot ready to rock and roll. I'm going to give my big welcome speech and highlighting people like Laura Ferguson, who is our featured dragon speaker. Laura's providing us with music. She's going to be doing some tuning fork meditative healing, followed by a speech of her own story medicine. And also, Laura gave me permission to use 2 of her songs, one each for my mini movie. So the first mini movie, Lushing, Laura let me use the song Dark Night of the Soul. It's a great song, hands down. And I hope Laura likes it. I told her yesterday, I'm done my movies. I hope you like them. And now I'm feeling a bit nervous. So if you're not interested in attending the conference and listening to the story medicine, get a ticket just to come witness me sharing my movie medicine, okay? And then the second mini movie, ISIS Project 30, ISIS Unity Consciousness, Laura gave me permission to use her new release, which is called The Dragon. And so I feel really honored for that. And Laura even went the extra mile and created an intro song and an outro song, but I use it mostly for an intro song for my Tuesday show, Story Species, Story Medicine. So you definitely want to come and catch all the hype about Laura Ferguson, Starseed Lolo, her music name. After Laura, we're going to have a break. After every presenter, we're going to have a break, 20 minutes, and you don't see it here on the schedule, but there'll be some Q&A for the presenters. Then we'll go into the break. Each break is going to kick off with a mini video where I tell you a little bit about the Unmaker's tools. And then the last break is a little guided meditation to see what tools do you have. Maybe some of those tools you're already familiar with. Maybe it'll be a big surprise. Maybe you'll have a tool that gets alchemized. So it's always interesting doing these kind of things. So on that note, you might want to have a pen and journal handy with you for tomorrow. So for tomorrow, you might want to have a candle, a stick for a fire ceremony at the end of the day, and then also a pen and a paper. So really looking forward to all of the presenters. So after that, like I run a tight ship. So this is definitely a high quality item from my teaching career. This agenda is well thought out, and it was a lot of planning and integrity behind the scenes in anticipation for tomorrow. And I feel really great about it because Promise of Spring was such a smash hit success because of the planning that we did. It set the tone and precedence for this conference, which made the workload for me a lot smoother. And I'm going to be carrying all my lessons from this planning into the next one. Not everybody uses Facebook, and so I think it's a good habit to email everybody information and links. And so let me know out there if you can relate, if you have a background in administration, or if you've ever done anything like plan, carry out, execute a conference online like me. So after Laura Ferguson, Starseed Lolo, we're going to listen to our keynote speaker, Sheila Spiral Sister Murray. And what's the difference between Laura and Sheila? Laura is the featured dragon speaker and Sheila is the keynote. Well, basically they're the same thing, but Laura was doing extra stuff. And so I thought, well, I can't just call Laura like a special guest. It doesn't really resonate the importance. And so given all the music and whatnot, I figure Laura is featured because we're going to hear her music multiple times, including her own healing and presentation. And then Sheila is the keynote speaker because she's going to be setting the tone for the day as far as theme goes. So in Gina world, the one providing the music, Laura Ferguson, Starseed Lolo, is setting the musical tone for the day and then complementing that with her own story medicine. Whereas Sheila, Spiral Sister Murray, is setting the tone theme-wise for the whole day, which of course complements Laura's presentation. So anyways, if you're just curious about extra stuff like that, it's a good reason to follow me. If you don't care about all this extra stuff, well, whatever. But I always like to connect with the soul tribe. And it's just interesting to get feedback. If anybody's planning a conference, I know somebody's planning a conference and they mentioned that they're going to be paying attention to how I executed my conference because they heard good things about it and made me feel really good. So promptly 12:30, Julia Anchorhaven's going to be taking the stage. This conference is online, by the way, and just give me a couple of days after the conference to organize the replay links and stuff like that. I'm really looking forward to Julia's presentation. Julia and other presenters like Slavka and Missy, this is going to be their first time presenting in a formal setting like a conference and sharing their story medicine in this style. So you might see presenters like Julia Anchorhaven on YouTube all of the time, but not sharing her story medicine in a style like this. So I feel really excited for the presenters. We've got Soma Ara. She's not going to be channeling, but she will be discussing when she was a child, she experienced trauma. So she's not going to get into the actual trauma of what happened. The heart of her story medicine is after the trauma, that's when she started hearing voices, if you will, and started having visions and outer body experiences, connecting with the Pleiadians. But it turned out she was always connected with them, and the trauma actually reactivated or awakened her connection with them. So she's been in connection with them ever since. And behind the scenes, we're joking around because I'm like, the Pleiadians are not channeling. Like if Soma starts to randomly channel, I'm going to have to go on and say, like, excuse me, Pleiadians. No, you're going to have to pause yourselves so Soma can finish her presentation. I just think it's hilarious. Let me know if you can relate. And you know what? Joking around with the Pleiadians and even, power animals like jaguar, it's not something I thought I would ever do. And every now and then when I joke around, I'm like, like I hope that resonated okay with them. And it does. I feel like I'm getting to know them. They're getting to know me. Let me know if you can relate. So after Soma Ara, we're going to have Slavka, the natural sentient. And her presentation sounds a lot like me and how I sound. How you think and feel matters. Every single thought you have is followed by an emotional reaction, which is followed by a biological chemical reaction. And you can take charge of your life. And it's such a relief because it's not me who's going to be presenting. It's going to be somebody else carrying that same message. And of course, it's personalized because it's Slavka's story. But you'll see with Slavka and the rest of the presenters for that matter, that their story medicine can apply to you or anybody. So that's the power in it. After Slavka, we're going to have Missy Hill. And Missy is very interesting because she's just, living her normal everyday life. She's always had experiences and whatnot. But for her, just like a lot of us, it really didn't awaken until her later adult years. And this is all part of our denial, our mind's number one job to protect us. So Missy is one of those people that she goes places and the land starts talking to her and the land starts telling her things about the history. And then through grid work, she starts to work with the energy and heal the land and or the spirits of the land. And so now she's driving around because she's a truck driver. She's driving around in her truck and she starts picking up on all kinds of information to the point where she started studying history, verifying and validating some of her own stories. And she's very open. So how many people out there are just like these dragon speakers, where you're like Laura Ferguson and you're having certain connections, or maybe you're like Sheila and, how we're all connected. Sheila is very interested in like the difference between the circle and the spiral and that powerful moment when you break out of the circle and you spiral out, alchemizing your life. How many people are like that? How many people are listening to this who are just like Julia Anchorhaven? Julia is a secret space program survivor, and she's just starting to really go down her own journey, figuring out who am I and what kind of life have I been living and what do I value? What do I believe in? And for most of her life, she thought she was this ordinary person living this ordinary life, but it turns out she's been targeted and whatnot. So how many people out there going through these motions? Well, you know what? You have a soul tribe, the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. We get you. You don't have to explain yourself. And that's part of the power of the conferences that I host. And my Tuesday show, Story, Species, Story Medicine, I don't investigate any of my guests. So, you know what? Who am I, right? Like, I'm no different than the next person telling a Bigfoot story. Those two angels that came out of my wall, I don't have any evidence. All I have is my word. So because I know exactly what that's like, that's the main reason why I don't investigate my guests. I don't expect my guests or any of my speakers to have any of their shit figured out. That's the power of their story medicine and the vulnerability that comes with it. Who knows, maybe in 40 years from now, the language that we use will be called something different. And I'm okay with that. Others are not. And we're seeing that today with science. And some scientists are making brilliant discoveries, but they don't want to change because they've, have their books and their nice, tidy theories and whatnot. So anyways, how many people out there are like Soma? If it's not the Pleiadians, it's some other ancestors, star nations, ghosty spirits, alternate selves. You're hearing voices. Maybe it's not an actual voice, but you see or sense. You're not alone. How many people out there are like myself and Slavka, false inhibiting beliefs ruling your life? How many people out there feel stuck and stagnant, showing up in the world in ways that you don't like? You're not showing up in ways that you like. How many people are like Missy Hill, driving around, walking around, and information is coming to you, right? So this conference is very, very important. Something else I wanted to show you is my cover for my first mini movie medicine, #1. There it is, Lushing. And my other mini movie medicine, Michael recommended calling it mini movie mystical medicine. It's called Project 30 Isis Unity Consciousness. Now, both Michael and I are total amateurs here, but I think we did pretty good putting together these 2 mini movies, Lushing and Project 30 Isis Unity Consciousness. There's lots of things that we could have changed if I had to redo it all over again, but you know what? I'm feeling pretty good about it. We used Canva to create it. And I'm not endorsed by Canva, but you know what? I have a lot of experience creating PowerPoint presentations. And so I've come to learn basically creating a PowerPoint is how I create movies, except you do that on a different platform. And Canva was really user friendly. And I'm still figuring it out, but I think it's cool how you can take pictures and animate them. And I think it's cool how you can generate pictures. It gets a little bit weird when you want to try and create like a character or an avatar. So on that note, the behind the scenes movie making, it's fun, but it's not my department. So if you're like Jason H, Missing Time 420, or like Michael Kopf, and you want to get in on movie medicine, please reach out to me. I've got 8 books published. I'll send you whatever you want. All the power to you, right? So part of my book series is that people out there want to get in on the hype and they just start creating stuff, and it's already starting to happen. Laura Ferguson on her own, in addition to everything she's already done, but like on her own, is creating thumbnails behind the scenes. And I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, use that one. That one looks good. And then like last night, or I don't even know now, maybe it was the night before, I was chatting with Michael Kopp, and he's like, hey, I can make a bunch of promo videos and this and that. And he's all pumped up. And I'm like, okay, like if that's what you want to do, all the power to you, but maybe focus on the next conference since this one's going to be tomorrow. So just people interviewing me now, it's starting to happen. So things are really starting to unfold, and I couldn't be happier. So oh, I know what I forgot to show you. I forgot to show you where you can buy the tickets. So let me just bring the Buy Me a Coffee back to the stage here. So yeah, so you go to my Buy Me a Coffee. Okay, and there's what it looks like. If you go to the home, if you're not familiar with Buy Me a Coffee, it tells you all about who I am. We're a story species. Stories are our medicine. I've got memberships on the go. I recommend this one here, Project 30 Isis Unity Consciousness, because it includes free links to the conferences. So you can get in on those memberships here. And of course, if you want to book a private session with me, you can do that. These are Canadian prices, by the way. So like I said, I post there all the time. The gallery, I don't post too many gallery pictures. The shop, this is what I want to show you. So if you like to read, you just click here, and for free, it'll redirect you. And it's going to redirect you to my Facebook page. And my Facebook page has Lushing, and there's also like an introduction. It's called FYI. So that's the first part of Book 8, Scary Dreams, absolutely free. And if you like listening, you can listen to me on my YouTube channel read from lots of the Dragon Dreams book series. So I wasn't well when I recorded those either. So it'd be nice to re-record them sometime and to better organize them. And it would also be really cool if other folks out there put in some requests and let me know, oh, Gina, I really want you to read these pages, or maybe you're willing to read some of those pages for me. That would be really phenomenal. Okay, so if you want to get a ticket for tomorrow, and you can get a ticket tomorrow too, this will be available, and it gives you the direct link. So as soon as you make payment, it takes you there. So please don't share the link. It's for paid members only. Summer Daze Online Conference, June 13th. That is tomorrow, $40 Canadian. So come hang out with me. Prompt start, 9 a.m., 8:30. I'll be hanging out a bit earlier. Again, we had phenomenal feedback from Promise of Spring. And here, the last little bit, I reiterate how we're a story species and stories are our medicine. Paranormal is very normal. Supernatural is very natural. And there's nothing strange about high strangeness, only that we think it's strange. And for what it's worth, in this community, we often get mocked. And so it's really important that we pull together as a soul tribe, sharing the story medicine, right? So hi, everybody. I think my comments were a bit behind there. I'm just getting a ton of comments in. Hi, Terry B. I see you there. Looking forward to the conference. Make sure you get your ticket, Terry. And Mihira, Shell, good to see you. Good day. Thanks for joining me live today. So if you're just tuning in right now, in the description, there's links for stuff that I showed. So you don't have to feel overwhelmed or like you missed anything. Buy me a coffee. It's got everything. In fact, I'll plug it in the chat right now. So, okay, and you're welcome. And after the conference on Sunday, we're going to be hanging out live again. So it's free to hang out with us right now. It's going to be free to hang out with us on Sunday. It's just the actual conference you have to pay for. So on Sunday, if any of the presenters are available and monitors, they're going to be joining me and we're going to be recapping everything. I can't wait. So something else I wanted to ask you, I got a little list here. This is my little special conference Bible of my own. I'm a hard copy person, so I got everything printed out. Even if I have microphone problems, I tend to brain fart things out when I'm live. So I got it written down here. I'm going to have my administration hat on tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to hitting the button right at 9 a.m. I'm going to start the music and starting with my checklist. Opening, closing sacred space. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm looking forward to journeying to the pine tree forest, the whole day, the presenters, my mini videos that I have, and then, of course, journeying out of the pine tree forest, the 2 mini movies that I created, right? So thanks, Terry. I am organized. My personal life isn't always this organized, but... But my teaching career really came through in terms of organization for this. So let me know, what are you eating tomorrow? Tomorrow's going to be a big day, right? So I'm going to prepare my snacks fresh downstairs tomorrow morning. I'm going to have a peanut butter sandwich. That way it's just little bites that I can take. I've got some bell peppers that I'm going to slice up. I've got an apple that I'm going to slice up. And then I've got like crackers and things like dried fruit, because I know myself. I know on a big day like tomorrow, I'm not really going to be sitting down and having a formal lunch break. So I will have moments where it's just going to hit me all of a sudden and I'm going to start pounding food, get it in, good. And then there's going to be another moment later on where I pound a little bit more food and good. And even though I don't think I'm being effective in that moment where I'm eating food, I shouldn't say pounding food, but I'll be pounding food, right? Let's not kid ourselves. I'll thank myself because I will have that energy, right? I like to drink water, and I've got lots of different berry teas. So I like to put a tea bag in my water. So I'll probably have nice hot tea when the conference starts, but then later on in the day, my water is going to be sitting there ready for me to grab and drink. I don't have to like go and get the water. You know what I mean? Just little stuff like that to make for a fluid day tomorrow. Tomorrow I will be very present, but I will be behind the scenes. So you'll see me a little bit for opening and closing sacred space and doing Q&As with the presenters, but the rest of the time you won't see me. I'll be behind the scenes. It's going to be a big day. Like I said, we start 9 a.m., but I'll be live 8:30 a.m. This is Eastern time, Toronto, New York. And by 6 p.m., it's going to shut down. So we are running a tight ship, if you will. And even if we fall behind schedule for some reason, we have space in the schedule exactly for that. So I feel really good about it. So let me know in the chat what kind of snacks you're having. I feel like the next day on the Sunday, that's when I'll probably order pizza or something like that, because Sunday is also the new moon. So after we go live for post-conference hype, I actually have to attend a ceremony that starts at 2. I think it's at 2. So so there's so much to look forward to, right? And I wanted to remind everybody too to check your junk mail. If you purchased a ticket, all of my Buy Me a Coffee pretty much goes in your junk mail. So check your junk mail, because I can see on my end who's bought a ticket. It shows me your email, but it doesn't show me if you opened it or not. So check your junk mail. If you're like, I bought a ticket, I follow Gina on BMAC, but I never get anything, check your junk mail. And you can set it so that like if you click on it and put send to inbox, this is not junk mail. You can set those settings. Okay. So I wanted to tell you, I'm checking my notes here. I wanted to ask you about snacks. So let me know about snacks. Let me know what you're drinking to stay hydrated. Let me know what time you're going to bed tonight so that you're up early tomorrow morning, especially if you're in the Pacific time zone. Dragon Dreamer's going to be up extra early tomorrow for that. And tonight, it's really humid here. So once I log off live here, I've already got my swimsuit on. I'm a swimsuit person. I'm going to be hanging out outside, relaxing, taking a nice bath, washing my hair, relaxing in bed. I've already got like my book ready. I may or may not do some sketching later on. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I'm just going to be nice and relaxed. If I feel like reading, I even have a book put to the side. That way it's just very kind of like tucking in the thoughts. Nights like tonight, you don't want to start, did I do this? Did I do that? No. This is the part where you trust in the process, right? Because it's like Christmas Eve for me right now. Tomorrow's going to be like Christmas morning. Mahira is commenting fruit leather, coconut water. That sounds good. And Terry is saying coffee in the morning, then the rest of the day is water with electrolytes. I have coffee too in the morning with oat milk. But then I'll be having like I like to have coffee as I'm getting ready, but then when I sit down to like work or be live, it's nice to have the hot tea beside me. Hi, Sheila, Spiral Sister Murray. Sheila's one of our Dragon speakers. I was just talking about you earlier, Sheila. I don't know if your ears were burning from that, but that was me if they were talking about how you are our featured speaker. And just rewinding here, Terry's commenting thunderstorms. You know, we're having thunderstorms here too. And tomorrow it's supposed to be kind of dull, dark, and humid. So, and Sheila says she's practicing. I'm not surprised, Sheila. Sheila's one of those people. Sheila was ready for this conference like a month ago, right? And there's Jason. Missing time 4:20, and he's about to go see Disclosure. Okay, well, have a good time, Jason. And Sheila's commenting it's raining too. So as we're chatting away, I'm going to actually carve my candle. If anybody else out there has a candle, let us know in the chat. Maybe you have a colored candle and that means something to you. Some people get really fancy and they wrap like special flowers and stuff around it. Something you want to do though is you want to carve your candle over a piece of paper or over top of a plate or something like that, because then it's easier to carve. So this won't take me long. And I know Michael Kopp was saying that he had 2 candles last time, 2 tea lights. And I thought that was a good idea because, you know, a tea light only really burns for, you know, maybe 3-4 hours if you're lucky. But a votive candle will burn for like a good 8 hours, even longer. And if I had a better tool, I think it would be nice to carve deeper and wider. Okay, so I got my little sun carved out here. Okay, now I'm just going to trace the triangle. And I'm just like, I don't know about you dragons, but I'm scratching down. I'm like down, 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 kind of like strumming a guitar, but just a down motion here. Okay. Got one side of my triangle carved. All right. Got side number 2 carved. And okay, trusting in the process here. My red's disappearing as I carve my candle. And people are talking about the weather and the sky in the chat. Here in London, Ontario, where I am right now, I've never heard thunder like in London, Ontario. We're surrounded by the Great Lakes, and the way the cold air and hot air sandwiches, it sounds like big bombs. And the military practicing not too far from here, I remember when I was a kid, sometimes I would hear thunderstorms, and my Nona and my Uncle John, they would be like, oh, that's the military practicing. Don't worry about that. And I'm like, I think that sounds scarier than the thunder, you know? And then I remember sometimes thinking, oh, that must be the military practicing. And then my Nona and my Uncle John would be like, no, that's a thunderstorm. And I'd be like, wait a minute. Like, okay, so now I'm just going to carve a straight line for the top of my boat. Thankfully, I am following the guidance of my red permanent marker. Okay, now I'm just going to do the smiley face bottom. You can tell I used to teach kindergarten, when you start referring to the bottom of the boat as a smiley face. Or an upside down rainbow, whatever is easy. And my thumb and finger are kind of hurting a little bit because this pen is, or not pen, this pin is kind of small. The first time I carved a candle, it bent. And I remember years ago when I first started drawing on candles, I would put like peace signs and stuff like that. Or if somebody died, I would put their initials on it. And then I thought, well, it should just be for fun stuff too, you know? Okay, so now I'm going to do my little squiggly line at the bottom. I got my screen background on there. You can't see it, but it's white, so you can't really see it anyways. If you look at the thumbnail, you can see the original, and it's also in my Buy Me a Coffee. Okay, just getting some squiggly lines here. And, some people are really good with their fine motors. I remember when I was a teacher, when I was teaching on call, I covered for a colleague and it was Easter and she had hard boiled a bunch of eggs. And the whole entire afternoon, that's what the class did, is they decorated their egg. It was a grade like 5-6 class. And they were very serious about their egg decorating. Like she set them up for success. She had them draw pictures and stuff and work with stencils before. And then finally it was like they got the real egg. And that was a nice activity, being the teacher on call, to be there for that. Okay, so on one side of the boat, I missed my red line, but whatever. Okay, so I'm done carving my candle. Oh, no, I'm not. I forgot about the top part. It says SD for Summer Daze. Let me just carve that. S. It might look more like a Z than an S by the time I'm done carving it. And yeah, storms can be exciting. Stamping on eggs would be fun too, but you know what? How about mashing them and making some egg salad sandwiches? One of my colleagues, she taught grade 2. I remember I was teaching kindergarten and she had a grade 2 class across the hall. I think it was a 1-2 combination. Anyways, she boiled a bunch of eggs, had the kids decorate them all morning. And then in the afternoon, they played games where they would roll their hard-boiled egg. And it was kind of like bocce, basically, that they're playing with their eggs. And eventually it would just kind of crack away, right? And that was part of her lesson on self-regulation, was spending the time to make something beautiful. And then basically you know that it's going to be getting destroyed. Okay, I'm officially done carving now. You really won't know how this works out until you add the ashes to it. Mindfully trying to make my S look like an S and not a Z. Okay, so there's still some red on there just from the marker that I had, but whatever. So now it's going to be like magic. You can't see anything, but you will. So I've got this here, ashes from my incense, and I'm just putting my fingers right in there and rubbing it right on top. So just let me bring this down here for a second. Ooh, I like how my boat turned out. Looks really good. So if you just take an extra second and really rub it in, it gets in the cracks nicely. There we go. Now my sun is really, and that's it. So now it looks like this. It has a spooky feel to it, right? And oh, I forgot the top. I keep forgetting the top. And like I said, if you want to use cigarette ashes, marijuana ashes, it'll be gray, whatever color the ashes are. So this is from my Nag Champa incense. Hey, look, the S looks like an S. I was worried it might look like a Z. I was also worried my D might look like an O. SD for Summer Daze. Thanks, Sheila. Sheila's commenting, oh, cool. Yeah, and Terry's saying he's excited. Lots of excitement going on in the chat here. And so there's my sun. and then just the waves, and there's my smiley face, the line, and the triangle for my boat. So I've lived and learned. If I wanted to, I can take this and cover my whole candle with it. That's fine. But I do find the candles, they burn weird now that I put the incense on. And they can actually burn longer. But again, you got to babysit them. Okay. So that was fun. Okay. Now I got to wash my hands and take care of this candle wax here. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in this box that I was talking about. So I'll just, my incense, if you're curious, the incense ashes always go here. That way it's just kind of like a little garbage can just for the ashes, because I burn my incense just like a foot away from this. And then I have it handy for this exact kind of stuff, right? So all I do now is I just lift up some of this, put my candle to bed. Good night, Summer Daze. It's in there. Good night, Summer Daze. See you tomorrow. Sweet dreams. Okay. So it's sleeping in here. Rock-a-bye Summer Daze on the treetop. And tomorrow, when we open Sacred Space, that's the candle that I'm going to be lighting. So let me know about you if you're going to be lighting a candle tomorrow, if you have a designated color or size or symbols that you're drawing and or carving on it. Maybe you're not using a candle, but you have a special light that you turn on when you do spirit work. Or maybe you're just going to go like this, and that represents lighting your candle. And if you don't have a candle, it's really not a big deal, because whatever I do on behalf of the collective. And even if for some reason I lost my candle, then I would be going like this too to light my candle. So always interested in sharing with you. So I've been live for an hour now. Can't believe that flew by. If you haven't had a chance to let me know what you're snacking on, let me know in the comments. I love watching them, love reading them, excuse me, even though the live is over. Those of you catching the replay, even in 40 years from now, you can let me know what you were snacking on for the conference, all about your candle, what speaker you're looking forward to listening to. Maybe there's a speaker that, you know, when you listen to them, you swear they like know exactly what, like, you know, they're telling your story. Like let us know. That's all part of this connection. So you're very, very welcome, Terry. Again, if you purchase a ticket, please check your junk mail, okay? Check your junk mail. And my name, Gina Virginia Casella, it's my full name on there, and you'll find it. You're buying me a coffee, and once you purchase your ticket, it takes you straight to the special link. So tomorrow we've got a big day. I'm going to spend the rest of the day relaxing, going to bed early, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. All right, Dragon.